Hi everyone, vintage, four-way, Bang & Olufsen, a name you might not respect, but I kind of do. Good quality drivers from 1972 to 76. What does it sound like? How good is it? What do you get? I'm going to tell you how much you could pay for these and what they sound like, yeah? My name's Kelvin. I review all kinds of stereo equipment. I've just been playing with hi-fi literally for 45 years. I've had so much gear I can't remember. And, I'm just sharing my knowledge, basically. Okay, Bang & Olufsen 75S, rated at 75 watts, 4 ohms. The technical jargon on this calls this phase link, yes? And I've heard this mid-range described as linking or bridging the gap between these two. This actually has, which looks like a tweeter, actually has a chamber on the back. So it's kind of half tweeter, half mid-range. And I'll do a quick open up the box and show you the inside or the drivers in a moment. But yeah, it's called a phase link thing, yeah? One thing I would I'd like to say is, often speakers claim all kinds of unique characteristics and design concepts. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and all I really care about is whether it sounds good. What I mean is, don't be bamboozled if someone says, oh, this removes all the negative feedback and sends it to the end of the universe and it's pure and distortion free. They kind of all say that, but there's a lot of marketing based on design concepts. It doesn't always mean it sounds good. But anyway, I'm not saying these don't sound good, because they do sound good. Okay, so let's go in and have a look. I'll just show you this firstly. This is angled, this top half, and this is plastic. The back is wood. And we've got 4 drivers, paper driver, soft dome. I don't know if it's a silk dome, not sure, but soft domes. And let's see here where I've got them out. So, bass driver here, made in Norway. C's, it says there, SEAS, CAS. CAS is probably the correct pronunciation. So that's the bass driver. We've got a mid-range, or, this phase link in its own chamber, And then actually, I was surprised to find a chamber on the back of this, which I guess you might call mid-range or tweeter. Nice big dome. And that is a peerless tweeter, I know. That won't have a chamber on it. But, that's a lot of kit, and this is quality stuff, not ultimate quality, but good gear. And this driver I've seen on many European speakers, some sort of mid-fi, I suppose you'd say. And I've seen them also, I think, in literally in studio speakers, just photos I've seen. But I've got a feeling that's Philips, but someone might be able to fill me in. So you get a lot of kit here, and you've got a real nice. This is rosewood veneer and this edging. I've actually only got one grill, by the way. That's how they came. So, purchase-wise, I tell you, I bought these about 5 years ago. About 5 years, about £120. That was at a point when these things were just undesirable, and very shortly after that point, they started becoming desirable, really, as part of the whole retro look, because they've got a nice rosewood finish. I actually only have one grill, but they're part, they fall heavily into that retro category, which I'd say is price-wise has kind of calmed down a bit, I think. Certainly these speakers. There was a time about a year ago where people were trying, I have to use that word, trying, to get £750 for these speakers, as if they were like absolute gems, and whether they sold them or not, I really don't know. But I would say you could or should pay for these £250 max. You might get them for less. Having 4 drivers, which is kind of a good thing, but it also means you've got to watch it that those 4 drivers are working properly. And I went through these with a fine tooth comb once, and I seem to remember one of the drivers was down, just not functioning properly. Maybe it was this, maybe it was this. I haven't reinvestigated that, but you've got to watch that. The more drivers you see, you literally want to go around, do tests on each one, turn the bass down, listen to each tweeter, do the best you can, without getting a meter out. But multiple drivers are good and bad, you could say. And yeah, they're Bang & Olufsen. Bang & Olufsen, when these were new, they would have cost a ton of money, loads of money. And nowadays, I mean, even these days, in those days, Bang & Olufsen was a rich man's good-looking stereo equipment, yeah? But don't write those off, because they still had to sound pretty good. You can't, you can't sell people something for a load of money and it doesn't sound rich and nice. They're not getting enough. No one's that stupid. And these are, you'll see in a minute, that is a C's driver. I couldn't actually see the name, but I've taken it out. But I think this is a Philips. That's peerless, and I'm not sure what that is. Might be Philips, might be C's, I don't know. But they are not, they're decent drivers. Yeah, decent drivers. Not super top, but not low quality, Nice big paper cone. It's going to give quickness and texture in the bass. Quite a big box, which is going to give it some, allow it to breathe, allow it to go a bit lower, than a smaller box would. And this is a closed box, which generally speaking keeps bass tighter, because this bass driver is trying to move in a sealed box. So it's actually getting restrained by not a vacuum, but, it's actually pulling against the density of air inside. Does that make sense? It's not a vacuum though. So, so when it pushes outwards, it's being restrained not only by that bit of rubber. So ports generally are a bit softer. That's the general. Punchy, a bit more punchy, a bit more texture, a bit more definition down low, but not probably going as low. Okay, let me say a couple of quick things, because I've been comparing these with other speakers, and curious things that are worth noting compared to the Kef LS50. The Kef LS50, with the UniQ driver, it's a clear winner. I promise you. I'm sorry for people that think the Kef LS50 is great. It's a small speaker with a little cone like that. This is a big load of cones. It's air filling, fills the room with top and middle end for sure. I was here with some friends. There was no doubt. The Kefs just seemed small and choked. Honestly, I mean, and these also are better than the Beovox 3800, which I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, which had a bigger driver and a three-way speakers. Just better. Better, clearer, nicer, better, bass, treble, mid, better. Okay, let me go into detail on some sound here for you. So it's a big and a very airy, acoustic, you might call it, sound. Paper cone, soft dome, not even plastic domes. This is making light, airy, filling the room. Bass-wise, it's not super low, but it has what I call the big box effect, which means the bass seems free. It seems to be doing its own thing. It's not getting choked or having to do mid-range things like a lot of other bass drivers do. It seems to just be an effect when boxes get bigger that the bass has its own life. I really like that. I mean, I think everyone would, you know, and the bass is pretty detailed. And as I say, you get the texture, the thrum of the bass note. You know, if that was a heavier cone, a plastic cone, not Kevlar, Bextrine or polymer, it might have more weight and a bit less definition, but be heavier. This is, how can I say it? I want to say it's got light bass. It's got fast moving, agile bass. It isn't super low, but it's thoroughly enjoyable. And, you know, it's nice that we've got paper and paper there. There's a nice sort of, it has a certain continuity of its own sound, you know, which is light and quick. It's dynamic, quick. I would say tonally, like with vocals, where you really show up what is it, how accurate something is, it's a bit off. It's a bit off. You won't really notice it until you say you go from this speaker to something that's better. I played these to some friends of mine who are, you know, not serious audiophile nuts like me. They were super impressed with these speakers. Yeah, super impressed. Big, spacious sound. And that not perfection in the mid only gets revealed if you're, you know, a really fussy person, you know, or you've got something to compare it with, you know. So if you play great sounding songs on these speakers, like Babylon Sisters, Steely Dan, Haitian Divorce, Steely Dan, glorious, big, air-filled sound. Guitars are in the air. You know, you're not listening to hear where anything is. It's all there. It's a very nice sensation, that, you know. But I will go into some other songs because I want to give you the full picture. So this song, Sweetest Decline, Beth Orton. I do that song because it's demanding. It's not particularly a favourite song of mine, but it will show things up. You know, sometimes it's worth doing things, playing things you don't massively like because it will be revealing. And what did I got there? It's a little unfocused. Yeah, the sound stage is not placed that great. You know, this places things out in the air. It just doesn't kind of focus them. And yeah, and I have to be so careful with this word, and I mean this in the tiniest way. A teeny bit shrill, because Beth Orton has a kind of shrill voice. It's a testing voice for speakers. Then what do we have here? I did Gravity, Alison Krauss. No shrillness on her voice or on this recording. Beautiful recording. Yeah, just all good, to be honest with you. Nice, big and open. Big and open. I then did Solid Air, John Martin. You have to listen to some of these songs are worth knowing, else you kind of won't know what I'm talking about. But that song, Solid Air, is turning into a really interesting test song because there's a balance between the vocal and the bass, which you'll hear straight away if you play that song, which some speakers just get right. And some speakers you get too much bass, too little bass, too much voice, too little voice. Yeah. So that's a demanding song as well. And I put here, I could do with a bit more bass. Yeah. I was getting less bass than normal in relation to the voice and the top end. It was still very pleasant. It's still really nice. Last song, and here's another remarkable song, which is kind of amazing me. Tin Pan Alley, Stevie Ray Vaughan. This song is probably it seems like it's like twice as well recorded as more or less any other song you've ever heard. That's Tin Pan Alley, Stevie Ray Vaughan, The Roughest Place, aka The Roughest Place. Just sounds incredible. If you have a hi-fi that isn't very good, or that you just want to impress your friends, right? I don't care how good your stereo is, play them that song and everyone will be going, this is an incredible stereo. I can't believe how good this sounds. But it's just that track. Just that track. And we played this, or I played that. Superb. All the nuances of Stevie Ray Vaughan's unbelievable guitar work. All the little tiny little bits. You're getting it. You're getting it all because you've got the paper cone and the domes filling the air with detail. But it doesn't. When that is going on, it doesn't matter that the soundstage isn't so focused. That song kind of doesn't need that, and all you're tuning into is the lovely guitar and the airy production. Okay, let me see if I can sum this up. So this is a big, impressive sound, and it goes a little bit iffy in the mid-range for a fussy person like me. For someone that's not fussy and you haven't got anything to compare it with, you will probably be highly pleased, highly impressed. It's big and exciting. And here's a thing that I really want to stress. Speakers like this, I mean, this is a pretty decent speaker, but they benefit from having a brilliant, good source material. So I was using with these, the Blue Sound Streamer, and then I was going actually into a vintage amp, a Sansui AU317, straight into the power amp section of that. And this just really gave a lot of clarity, just gave sharpness and clarity. And the point I'm making is mix some vintage with some really great source, and you can kind of iron out a bit of the iffiness in some not perfectly designed speakers. They're a bit old, but if you hit them with some great firm, great source material, you can just kind of power your way through the minor problems of things like that. So it's a great place for mixing vintage and new. The new works, and if you had the new front end, say, and then new speakers, you probably wouldn't have so much life. There's a lot of life in these big, expansive speakers that it just benefit from a taut front end, if that makes sense. Hopefully tell me if this is making sense. Okay, they're nice and relaxing. I really enjoyed these speakers, you know. Okay, that's it. Please like and subscribe. Loads more videos on my channel. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.